Today's teens have unprecedented influence over the purchasing decisions of their families and friends. They're growing up in this child-centric era where we put them on a pedestal, not only their parents, like me, but society too. So in fact, they expect to be catered by marketers. And because they're growing up with technology, they are offered endless resources of information and influence. So the touch point opportunities for marketers are tremendous. The current teen market represents the most multicultural population the U.S. has seen in years. And these kids are not concerned about ethnic designators. In fact, they exhibit a really strong individuality when it comes to self-expression. And they display very deep attachments and respect with family and friends. They also like to marry their many interests with causes. So when they're thinking about fashions for the moment that they want to purchase, they think about the companies behind those fashions and the ways that they do good for the community. So when you're developing your storylines, consider partners who can help you tell those stories in very meaningful ways. The best way to reach teens is to make sure that we're not talking at them, but with them. We want to understand their world, and we want to be able to speak their language. And while the specifics of that may vary, at the core of our communications and our messages is our ability to provide an empathy and understanding for their world and for their needs. We also know that they respond to stories that offer less content and more visuals. After all, they are growing up reading less and watching more. We also know that they're very hip to hype, so let's be really savvy about the way that we are developing our stories and we are developing our messages. We also want to make sure that we are allowing them to feel in control of the media experience. While the perception still remains that kids are more plugged into the TV and internet than other media outlets, most people would be surprised to hear that they are still huge consumers of magazines. In fact, a recent Nielsen report showed that the top 25 magazines lead the top 25 primetime TV shows for teens' attention. We also know that they are plugged into the internet, though, and that will continue to increase as time goes on. But what's interesting is that they've spent less time browsing than their parents. So what that tells us is that they are looking for very rich content and visuals, and when they find it, they stay very focused there. So I guess a key learning is to make sure that we are creating very robust and compelling articles and visuals to grab their attention and to keep it online as well as through the traditional media channels. We want to make sure that our content is balanced with strong visuals throughout our media strategy. We also want to make sure that we're not forgetting radio. While kids are plugged into their iPods and other music devices, we know that they are still very loyal to their favorite top 40 music stations and their favorite radio personalities. Start by challenging the popular assumptions about teens. Consider reaching them through some of the same similar media outlets that their parents use. We also want to make sure that we understand their use of media as master multitaskers so that we've got a good blend of different ways that we can reach them with very sharp, snappy, pithy type of communications, whether it's content, sound bites, or strong visuals and music. Be sure that it's very, very rich content, very interesting, and really designed to grab their attention. We also want to make sure that the right mix includes both digital and traditional. So make sure we've got good content on Facebook and Twitter, that we're reaching out to our traditional TV and radio outlets, as well as our magazines and newspapers. And we want to keep in mind that teens are using media not only to find information and the latest news about their purchasing decisions, but they're also using it to find out more about things that are of particular interest to them when it comes to social, civic, and community.